In this tutorial, we're going to be discussing how to use event listeners, and I'm going to delete this. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a button, a rectangle. We're going to make this a dashed button. Going to change the stroke to little 4 or 5. Make it nice and big. Going to make this a little rounded. And then get our text tool, which is taking a while to load, I'm sorry. And we're gonna make it static text. Let's make it black. And let's type in button, escape. Alright, get our selection tool and put this in the center. I'm gonna make this a little bigger. Let's make it that's pretty good. A button. Then we're gonna convert the whole thing into a symbol. Make sure it's a movie clip. We're gonna name this button. Press OK. Now we have a button on stage. Make a new layer, because when you make like I said, or it didn't say, is that when you do Actionscript, it has to be on a layer that has nothing on it, so it has to be blank. We're gonna make this button. You can name this layer whatever you want. Just name it Action, or you can name it Actionscript AS, whatever you want. Then we're gonna go to our Actions panel and begin. So the first thing we should do is that we have to give this an instance name. And I know this, since this is a button, it should be a button, but we're not gonna do that. We're just gonna make a movie clip, and I'm gonna name it button underscore MC. Go to our actions layer, and then put that name down, underscore MC. Add event listener, and you see that's in blue, it's highlighted. Then we're going to type in what kind of event it is. We're going to make this mouse event, so we're going to type in mouse event dot click, make a name for it, on click, close it, make a function. We're going to put on click mouse event void, because we're not returning anything. Then we're going to type in trace test. This event is working. Close it. We're going to run this movie, see if it works, and it's working. And now it's time to explain how this works and what it does. An event listener is basically, I'm going to do that. An event listener is basically a listener that listens for events. So what I mean by this is, like, think of it as a TV and a remote. If you were to press a bunch of buttons on your remote, the TV probably wouldn't work because it isn't on, and it will turn on once you press the on button, and then all those other buttons that you press are not working. So first of all, you have the TV is waiting for the on button, so it's listening for that event to happen. So the event is the event of you pressing the on button on your remote, and your TV is listening for that, and once it hears that, something's gonna happen, which is a handler. So we put event listener to the button, and it's gonna be a mouse event. And there's different types of events. There's a keyboard event for when you want to listen for a keyboard or a mouse click, a mouse down. There's a bunch of them, and I'll explain how to use the important ones as we go along in these series for games and websites. So that there's different types of things you can do with your mouse. You can do when it's down, or when it's just click, or when it's over. Those are the types of events. So we're listening for a click, a simple click, and then we have to make a name for it. Just like you make a name for a variable or a function, you have to make a name for it, and it's the same rules as making a variable and a function. And we name this on click. Then we close the these things, right, the parameter, and then put a semicolon to end it. Now that we added the event listener, when the click happens, what's gonna happen is whatever the name of this is. So on click, it's gonna do whatever on click is, and on click is a function. and that function is going to trace test. Now this thing right here, you have to put in a name and mouse event. Now what this means is, for the parameters, I'm going to delete this. If we were to run this, it simply wouldn't work because it says argument count mismatch, expected 0, got 1. And what this means basically is that you didn't put anything. So you have to give it a name, and it can be anything you want. It can be the same thing. It follows the same rules as naming a variable, a function, or an event listener now. So it can be poop, test, whatever you want. Usually it's common practice to name it event or E. And if you look, event is highlighted, but this is the only case that Flash won't use the name. So this is the only exception to that rule. I'm going to name it E, and then you have to specify the type. Now this matters. So the type would be whatever the event is. So whatever's right here, since it's a mouse event, we have to type in mouse event. It corresponds with the name right here. If it was keyboard event, then this would be keyboard event. It's pretty simple. Gonna put this back to mouse. And then, since we're returning nothing, we're just gonna put a colon void, and then what exactly that function will do when it's run. So if we test this movie and click the button now, you see we get in the output window the test, and this tells us that the event listener is now working, and that's how you make event listeners in Flash. So thanks for watching.